Jason Voorhees. Crystal Lake mass murder statistics. You're driving through rural New Jersey, GPS dead, phone showing no signal. There's a sign, Crystal Lake Summer Camp, 2 miles. You pull in for directions. That's your first mistake. Because if Jason Voorhees were real, Crystal Lake would be America's Bermuda Triangle, where 146 people have vanished without a trace. Jason's been killing for 40 years. That's longer than Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer combined. But here's what would terrify the FBI. No DNA, no fingerprints, no witnesses, just empty cars and tents with sleeping bags still warm. The New Jersey State Police would have cordoned off Crystal Lake decades ago, but people keep going back. Teenagers looking for thrills, urban explorers with YouTube channels. They all discover the same thing. When you're hunted by something already dead, running doesn't help. Jason knows those woods better than you know your neighborhood. Imagine being the 911 dispatcher getting calls from Crystal Lake. There's someone in a hockey mask. Click. Deadline. Every summer, without fail. Michael Myers, Haddonfield's Unsolved Case Files. Halloween night in Haddonfield, Illinois. Most kids are trick-or-treating, but you're working late, driving home through quiet suburban streets. You see a figure under a streetlight. Tall, white mask, not moving. You drive past, check your mirror, and he's gone. Welcome to Michael Myers territory. If Michael were real, Haddonfield would be like Amityville or Salem, a town where real estate prices plummet every October because Michael doesn't kill randomly. He hunts specific bloodlines, like a supernatural hitman with a 40-year contract. The Haddonfield Police Department would have the strangest cold case files in America. Same masked figure since 1978. Problem? He never ages, never changes. It's like trying to arrest a ghost, except ghosts don't leave mutilated bodies. The worst part? Michael's methodical. He'll spend hours studying your house, learning your routine, watching through windows. By the time you see that white mask, he already knows when you shower, when you sleep, when you're most vulnerable. Freddy Krueger. Sleep deprivation death epidemic. It's 3 a.m. and you haven't slept in 4 days. Your eyes are burning, hands shaking, you're seeing things that aren't there. But you can't sleep, because sleeping means dreaming, and dreaming means Freddy. Welcome to Springwood, Ohio, where insomnia isn't a disorder, it's survival. If Freddy Krueger were real, he'd be worse than any pandemic in human history. COVID-19 killed millions, but you could wear masks, get vaccinated, stay 6 feet apart. How do you socially distance from sleep? You can't. Every human needs sleep, making everyone a potential victim. Think about the first Freddy deaths. Teenagers dying from massive heart attacks in their sleep. No drugs, no medical conditions, just pure terror. The CDC would be baffled. Doctors would run every test imaginable. But how do you autopsy a nightmare? And here's the sick part. Freddy gets stronger with each kill. More creative, more twisted. He'd orchestrate psychological torture sessions lasting hours in dream time, but minutes in reality. By the time paramedics arrive, you've been through hell. Chucky. AI toy safety regulations needed. Your daughter gets a good guy doll for Christmas. Hi, I'm Chucky. Until you wake up at 2 a.m. hearing tiny footsteps. You check her room, she's asleep. The doll's gone. You find it downstairs, sitting at the kitchen table, that plastic smile somehow different in the dark. If Chucky were real, he'd be every parent's nightmare. Your child's toy trying to murder them. He's not some forest monster. He's sitting in your living room right now, in every toy store, waiting. Charles Lee Ray was a master manipulator who understood human psychology. Now imagine that criminal mind trapped inside something designed to look innocent. Chucky doesn't just kill, he recruits. He turns children against parents. The worst part? Kids would defend Chucky. He's my friend. Children naturally trust toys. Chucky exploits that, turning childhood innocence into a weapon. Pennywise, Derry's 27-year missing children pattern. Welcome to Derry, Maine, population 31,000. Except every 27 years, that number drops. Children disappear. Not kidnapped, not murdered in any traceable way. They vanish like they never existed. You're an FBI profiler investigating. Missing persons files are impossibly thin. Parents claim they never had children. Teachers can't remember students. School records show empty desks never filled. Someone's editing reality, removing kids from existence. Then you find the pattern. Every 27 years, going back centuries, always children, always the same witness descriptions. A man in a clown suit, same face, same voice, same impossible promises across decades. Here's what drives investigators insane. It doesn't just kill children, it makes adults forget they existed. Your brain protecting itself from trauma so severe, it would cause complete breakdown. Ghostface, California's copycat killer phenomenon. Your phone rings at midnight. Unknown number. You answer. What's your favorite scary movie? Your blood runs cold because you've seen Scream. You know how this works. But here's what makes Ghostface terrifying. Anyone can be Ghostface. Your neighbor, co-worker, best friend. The mask costs $30 on Amazon. Hollywood created a blueprint for the perfect untraceable killer, and people are crazy enough to follow it. If Woodsboro were real, it'd trigger nationwide paranoia. Every prank call becomes a death threat. Every masked figure becomes a potential murderer. Caller ID becomes life and death. The psychological warfare is worst. Ghostface doesn't just stab and leave. He calls first, plays games, makes you participate in your murder through movie trivia. Get it wrong, someone dies. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Family Cannibalism. You're driving across Texas when your car breaks down. No cell service. You see a farmhouse with smoke from the chimney. You walk up for help. Last mistake as a human being. The Sawyer family represents isolated communities that develop twisted rules. Places where law doesn't reach, where families disappear tourists for decades without anyone noticing. The dark side of self-reliance. Leatherface isn't random. He's systematic family dysfunction spanning generations. A household where cannibalism is normal, human meat is protein, turning visitors into dinner is hospitality. How many isolated farmhouses exist in rural America? How many places where you could scream and nobody would hear? The most terrifying monsters aren't supernatural. They're people next door. Pinhead, Cenobite dimension portal, physics. You find it at an estate sale. Antique puzzle box, surprisingly heavy. The seller warns every previous owner died mysteriously. You're not superstitious. $50. Biggest mistake of your life. The lament configuration is a beacon alerting interdimensional beings someone's ready to experience absolute limits of sensation. Not demons, but explorers treating human suffering as high art. If Pinhead were real, he'd represent humanity's first confirmed contact with interdimensional beings. Not friendly aliens, but creatures whose only interest is finding new ways to make us scream. Pinhead grants exactly what people ask for. Want experiences beyond normal sensation? He'll show you sensations beyond human endurance. The Cenobites see themselves as artists, and human suffering is their medium. The Purge, America's 12-hour crime statistics. March 21st, 7 p.m. Emergency broadcast. Any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 hours. Police services unavailable. May God be with you. Imagine if America instituted the Purge. Not Hollywood's masked strangers, but co-workers settling disputes with violence, domestic abusers getting consequence-free revenge, every grudge becoming lethal. Within an hour, most deaths would be personal. Abusive husbands, fired employees, bullied teenagers, all suppressed rage erupting simultaneously. By hour 6, it's resource competition. People killing for food, water, gasoline. Civilization collapses because ordinary people realize violence is more efficient than commerce without consequences. The morning after, 2.3 million dead and a society that can never trust itself again. Once you know neighbors are capable of murder when law disappears, how do you ever feel safe? These killers represent our deepest fears. Safety is illusion, evil comes from anywhere, and only our collective agreement not to hurt each other stands between civilization and chaos. Sometimes, that agreement breaks down.